On a quiet Sunday morning in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, the air was still, and the streets were lined with families heading to worship or enjoying a peaceful start to their day. The sense of calm was almost tangible, as if nothing could disturb the gentle rhythm of this suburban community. But inside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that tranquility was about to be shattered. The congregation, gathered in faith and fellowship, had no warning of the horror that was about to unfold within their sacred walls. At precisely 10:25 a.m., a Chevy Silverado barreled through the church's brick walls, sending debris flying and plunging the sanctuary into chaos. The crash was sudden and violent, a jarring interruption to what should have been a routine Sunday service. The driver, armed with an assault rifle and a chilling sense of purpose, stepped out of the wreckage. His intentions were clear and deadly, and fear swept through the congregation as he advanced. In an instant, chaos erupted. The sound of gunfire echoed through the sanctuary, and people scrambled for cover, desperate to protect themselves and their loved ones. The church, once a place of refuge, became a scene of terror and confusion. As if the violence wasn't enough, the attacker poured gasoline and set the church ablaze. Flames and smoke quickly filled the building, trapping worshippers between the threat of gunfire and the growing inferno. Panic and fear gripped everyone inside. Later, investigators would discover explosive devices hidden within the church, revealing a level of planning and brutality that stunned even seasoned law enforcement officers. Amid the terror, acts of courage emerged. Church members shielded children with their own bodies, while others guided the frightened and injured towards safety, risking their lives to help one another escape the nightmare. First responders raced to the scene, confronting a burning building, an active shooter, and the unknown threat of explosives. Their bravery and quick action saved lives even as the danger raged on. The church, once a symbol of faith and hope, was now engulfed in flames and smoke. Its spire, once reaching toward the sky, was lost in a cloud of blackness, a stark reminder of the violence that had erupted within. Outside, stunned community members gathered, embracing one another in shock and grief. The sense of safety they once felt was gone, replaced by sorrow and disbelief. This day would leave a scar on Grand Blanc forever, a tragic reminder of how quickly peace can be shattered, and how a community must come together to heal. The assault was swift and merciless, shattering the peace of a quiet Sunday evening. What began as a routine service quickly turned into a nightmare that no one could have anticipated. Thomas Jacob Sanford, a former Marine with a troubled past, stormed the church, firing indiscriminately into the crowd of unsuspecting worshippers. The sound of gunfire echoed off the stained glass, sending shockwaves through the congregation. Panic spread instantly as families dove for cover, desperate to escape the chaos. Parents shielded their children while others scrambled for exits, their faces etched with terror and disbelief. In the confusion, Sanford ignited a fire, filling the building with thick, choking smoke. The sanctuary, once a place of refuge, was now engulfed in chaos and fear. Worshippers were trapped between bullets and flames, some forced to crawl through debris and shattered pews to survive. The air was filled with cries for help and the sound of breaking glass. 4 people lost their lives in the attack. 1 was shot while 3 others were found in the smoldering ruins after the fire was extinguished. 8 others were injured, one of them critically, as emergency responders rushed to provide aid and comfort to the wounded and traumatized survivors. The rampage finally ended when police arrived on the scene, confronting Sanford in the church parking lot. A brief but intense exchange of gunfire ensued. Sanford was killed in the confrontation, but the devastation he left behind was overwhelming. The church, once a symbol of hope, now stood in ruins. In the aftermath, investigators searched for answers, but the motive for this targeted and senseless attack remained a mystery, haunting the community and leaving scars that would last for years. Shock and grief swept through Grand Blanc and Michigan. Governor Whitmer condemned the violence, calling it especially heinous in a place of worship. Striking nurses from a nearby hospital rushed to help, putting aside their own disputes to aid the wounded. That evening, a prayer vigil brought the community together in mourning and solidarity. The tragedy struck just after the death of the church's global leader, deepening the congregation's sorrow. For Grand Blanc, the focus was on healing and unity in the face of senseless violence. Thomas Jacob Sanford's background confounded investigators, raising more questions than answers from the very beginning. He seemed to be an unlikely suspect with no prior criminal record or history of violence. Detectives struggled to piece together a motive, as nothing in his past suggested he was capable of such an act. A decorated Marine, Sanford was respected by his peers, and had served his country honorably. He had no known ties or grievances with the church or its members, and his military record was spotless, making the case even more perplexing for authorities. No manifesto or clear motive emerged, leaving the community searching for answers and struggling to make sense of the tragedy. The lack of explanation only deepened the pain and confusion felt by those affected. Federal and local authorities scoured his history, social media, and relationships for clues, hoping to uncover any detail that might explain his actions. Every lead was pursued, but nothing concrete surfaced. The randomness of the attack heightened the community's fear and confusion, leaving many to wonder if anyone could truly be safe. The sense of security that once existed was shattered overnight. Sanford's actions forced difficult conversations about mental health and the struggles veterans may face after returning home. Many questioned whether more could have been done to support him and prevent such a tragedy. Until more is known, the question of why remains painfully unanswered, echoing in the hearts of those left behind. The community continues to grapple with uncertainty and grief. The investigation continues, but closure is elusive and the search for understanding goes on. Law enforcement's swift response prevented further tragedy, but the scars remain. The church is now a crime scene, its congregation forever changed. The FBI and local police are working to uncover the attacker's motive and ensure justice. The community faces a long road to recovery, rebuilding not just a structure but trust and peace. Acts of kindness and solidarity have begun the healing process. In the face of horror, Grand Blanc's resilience shines through. Even as questions linger, the community's unity offers hope for the future.